Welcome to a Black Girl Safe Space. I'm Zira,
And I'm Angel.
and in this podcast, we talk about anything and everything because this is a safe space.
Welcome back.
Hello, everybody.
How are y'all doing? I hope y'all are doing good, and I hope y'all are blessed and highly favored, on this fine Thursday evening.
Yes, dang. I forgot what I was going to say. My mind just went blank.
It's been a long week for sure. I'm struggling to be crisscrossed right now.
I don't know. I feel like this week went by so fast for me.
It did go by fast for sure. I feel like I feel like I'm trying to keep up. I have so much work due this week. It's crazy.
Yeah. This week has been a little more chill for me, so I've been using it to kind of catch up and stay caught up. Not really get ahead because in nursing school, can you really get ahead? No.
Not really.
But yeah. So that's what I've been doing. Just kind of trying to take the 2 off days that I've had and get my life together. So I went and got my car serviced finally after 600 miles overdue. And
I'm not gonna talk about it. It's okay.
yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah, just been relaxing, honestly. We were supposed to film yesterday, but I had a really bad headache. So we moved it to today.
Yeah. Girl, today, so I went to work, and when I got to work, I left home and my thing said air pressure low. Usually it does that. My sensors are super sensitive, and when it gets colder, your air pressure leaks quicker. So I'm like, oh, it's just my air just being great, just doing its thing. I'll fill it up when I get to my job. So I get to my job and I'm checking my tires, which one does need air in? I go to my front passenger seat side and there was a nail in my tire.
Really?
I heard it was and I was like, oh my gosh. So I called my boyfriend. I called my dad first. I think he was in a meeting because he usually works from home, but he went to his office today. So he was in a meeting. So I called my boyfriend and I was like, hey, I have a nail in my tire. So we got to fix this. So the first thing we were going to do was basically put my spare on. But my mom had left out the jack on the porch or whatever. So my boyfriend came to get it. And he was like, this is not a jack. This is a jack stand. Jack stand is to keep the car up. The jack is to lift the car up. So we had to go for plan B. And then he had to go to AutoZone and get a tire plug kit. And basically we did that while I was at work. And now my tire is fine. But that was just such an inconvenience.
Yeah. So do you have to get it replaced?
My dad would probably will get it replaced, but I would rather get it replaced. But the tire is fine. I'll just use it as a backup, if anything. Mm-hmm. But yeah, on top of that happened on top of all the schoolwork I have to do. I have a paper due about schizophrenia. I have a graphing assignment. I have to write notes. I have to read a chapter about schizophrenia. Guys. And do a quiz on that, a practice quiz on that. I have 2 labs.
Are you doing that all tonight?
Yeah, I'm going to try. It's due Sunday. It's Thursday. I'm so glad I'm not doing anything this weekend. That's it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my week. Slay. Oh my gosh. And I'm trying not to get sick. Because here in Georgia, everybody is sick. Is it just me, or have you seen everybody with the flu?
I haven't seen anybody sick, but I know a lot of people have been talking about there's something going around.
Yeah, it's this new flu strain.
I'm taking my emergency And y'all should be taking your emergency as well.
Said y'all
And drinking
taking
your
tea and ginger.
immune boosters, whatever
Yes.
you need. Taking your probiotics, staying healthy.
Yeah.
Because it is
Being sick
getting
and
like into the winter season, so it is gonna start getting colder. People are gonna start getting sick. We're still in flu season, so
disgust.
be
Nasty
careful,
germs.
please.
Please be
'Cause
careful.
I'm not trying to catch that.
I just can't with the flu. But today's topic, we are going to be talking about basically, what? I'm on a live? What? Anyway, we're going to be talking about mental health and how, when it comes to people or women of color, it kind of gets pushed under the rug by parents, authorities, people like that. Just, it kind of, it's like, oh, whatever. Not talked about when it's a really serious matter, and a lot of women of color get led to either homelessness, asylum, stuff like that. Like, they don't get the right treatment that's for them, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. And let's just preface, we're saying women of color because we're speaking from like our own perspective, but we are aware and we do acknowledge that this happens with both men and women, especially men and women of color, like people who come from kind of foreign backgrounds, who do things a little differently, of different cultures. So we recognize that, but we're just going to be kind of like speaking from our perspective as women of color, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So
I don't know if your camera looks like this. But like you're so pixelated.
Really?
Like I wish I could show you. Like you're so pixelated on my screen. I hope I'm not pixelated.
No.
But like on my screen, you're like pixels.
You can count pixels.
them. No, but like I could barely, like your face structure is like barely visible. Like I wish I could show you.
Girl, what?
Let me try
I
to
look
show you
clear.
on FaceTime. Hold on. Girl. Look at your pixels. We're on This is how we do it, guys. We like go on our thing and then we're like on FaceTime on the phone just in case something happens. But girl, you are pixels.
I'm not Wreck-It Ralph. We don't act like
Hopefully it'll
we
be.
didn't
Am
see
I
that.
pixels? Because you're the one saving the video. So as long as I'm
No,
not
you
pixelated on
aren't.
yours.
You look clear as day. Fine.
Okay.
I don't know what's going on.
As long as I'm not pixelated. Oh yeah, guys, and I'm bringing back the Halloween blanket, even though it's November time. I use it year round. So.
That's crazy. I didn't think I was pixelated. But yeah, Zero, do you want to start?
It's just like, what do you really say? I feel like a lot of people can just like relate to what we'll talk about because like I said before, it's kind of like a really common thing, at least from like the people I've spoken to, people of color who come from immigrant households. Mm-hmm. It's kind of not normal to discuss mental health because it's either seen as like a sign of weakness in some households. Mm-hmm. It kind of like brings distress, like something is wrong, in a sense.
Right.
Like something wasn't done right to the point where someone's developed a mental health issue. It's just not taken as seriously in some cultures, and I think that kind of causes a lot of problems because from there people kind of can't talk openly about what they're going through and their mental health issues, and they don't seek help, and then it just escalates to a point where it's like people are really, really suffering bad with their mental.
Yeah, that's true.
And where we could have intervened, we didn't because of like these cultural stigmas.
Yeah, it was.
So it kind of gets really hard to kind of balance or like manage it when you don't really have the help that you need. Mm-hmm. So
And like if you try to get the help you need, or you successfully do get the help you need, it's looked at as like, why are you doing that? Like, you don't need, why are you paying to talk to somebody, or why are you on these medications, blah blah blah. Like, me personally, I'm not fully for medication in some cases. Considering myself as a psych major, I I'm learning about so many types of disorders every single week in my classes, and I feel like there are some disorders where you flat out need medication, like schizophrenia. You definitely need medication for that.
Mm-hmm.
Psychosis, stuff like that, panic attacks,
Bipolar disorder.
yeah, agoraphobia. You definitely need stuff like that. But like when it comes to like um, anorexia nervosa, stuff like that, I feel like being on medication is like the last thing you need. For me, in my opinion, I feel like it's not really needed. I feel like you need support and you need someone with you at all times, like on your side, supporting you, making sure you're meeting your goals for your nutrition goals, stuff like that. Like maybe the only medication I can think of is something to increase your appetite, but you can holistically increase your appetite with like fenugreek or stuff like that. I feel like meds from stuff like hospitals and things of that nature, or prescriptions aren't needed in some disorders, but it's definitely looked down upon when you do get medication,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, well, it's there to help.
Yeah, I feel like that's a really big stigma that kind of needs to be eradicated.
Yeah,
Extreme word, but like we
just
really need to
eradicate.
fix that because medication is important. Like there's a reason that they give medication.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just there for well, I can't say that
Fun.
word, but it's not just there for fun. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like people need the medication. That's why they're getting the medication. And there's nothing wrong with taking medication. I feel like people kind of need to stop being so judgy when it comes to people taking medications, especially for mental health,
Yeah.
because it's not like for show or for attention. Like mental health is just as serious as any physical
It's
ailment,
very serious.
you know.
It's your mind. Like
Mhm.
that's what you use to function.
Yeah, the same way you would take medication to treat any type of infection in the body is the same way you would take medication to help aid any type of mental distress that someone's going under.
I agree.
And I feel like people become kind of afraid to take medication either because they don't want to be judged or there's so many false stereotypes put on it. Like, oh, medication doesn't work, or oh, medication is going to make you this, this is going to make you this, it's going to make you this. Well, majority, if not all, medications have their side effects. So, like, let's cut that out, please.
Yeah.
Like, if you need the medication, take the medication. Don't be
Yeah.
ashamed to take medication because at the end of the day, your mental health is a priority because you don't want it to get any worse than it is.
Yeah.
And you kind
I
of want to,
agree.
yeah. It's not something fun to have to deal with because every day you're in some type of distress.
Mhm.
Like, you're in pain. Even though it may not be seen on the outside, like, you know you're in a lot of pain. Like, you're dealing with that internally.
Yeah.
So if you can
true.
do something to assist in that, like you shouldn't be afraid to. And I feel like that's kind of where it goes back to, like a lot of people are kind of like afraid to even treat their mental disorders because they don't want to be judged or they don't want to be looked at a certain way.
Because once you start saying, yeah, I'm on Lexapro or I'm on Prozac,
They're like, oh, you're crazy.
you're crazy.
You're
Yeah,
crazy.
Yeah. But there are, like I said, there are some medications that I feel like need to be studied more than studied more thoroughly before they just give it to anybody, especially like Adderall with people diagnosed with ADHD. There's a lot of cases where Adderall is basically a legal cocaine. It hyper focuses you to get what you need to get done, but people take Adderall for fun. Like people start getting tolerant to it, if that makes sense, or it gets in the wrong hands, things of that nature. There's there's a medication, I forget what it's for, but it causes basically tics. Like as you keep taking it and getting tolerant to it, it causes tics. And it yes, stuff like that I feel like should be more studied thoroughly before getting it just publicly passed through the FDA and things of that nature, because it sometimes medication can do more harm than good depending on what disorder, disease, phobia that you have. Because it's so sad seeing like people that were diagnosed with this get diagnosed with something else because of the medication that they were on, because it wasn't thoroughly studied, or like the doctor didn't care that much to really figure out what's the best medication for them. That's
Mm-hmm.
another thing. Like there are doctors or healthcare workers in the field of mental health and mental illness that don't really care that much and just give their patients anything. And it's like you're here to help them and you're just making it worse. You need your license revoked actually, but you can't really do much about that because they're doing their job prescribing medication. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I just feel like it needs to be more studied thoroughly sometimes, depending on what it is.
I think that's fair to say because like there's always room for improvement, especially like in healthcare. There's always ways to make things like better.
Yeah,
So,
definitely. The DSM-5 gets updated so much. I don't know if you know what that is. Have you
mm-hmm.
heard of it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the thing gets updated so much. They're literally on their fifth edition.
Yeah.
So, it science, science. Yeah, it is science. It keeps you keep learning. We don't know
Mm-hmm.
the answer to everything. Things get updated so much. We figure out new things, discover new things, and that's just how it is. But like I feel like people should be more cautious with that. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Doctors, healthcare workers, stuff like that. Um, we can talk about how relatives kind of I don't know what the issue is with them. Is it a fear? Is it denial? Is it I don't know.
I think
Like
it
do
kind
they
of
not
has
want
to.
to?
I think it has to do with both, and then
Mm-hmm.
I also think it's just a matter of like the way people are raised because at the end of the day, like when you're an immigrant coming into like a new environment,
Mm-hmm.
your ways of doing things are going to be different from the ways of the people, like the new people that are around you. And us as like first
First generation.
first generation immigrants, we kind of like see things a little bit from both perspectives based on what we're
Yeah.
taught because back home we're learning all of the culture that our parents were taught and that they're teaching us, but like
Mm-hmm.
out in the real world we're learning the culture of like the people, like the Americans, like the people who are around us. So I think it kind of becomes hard. Oh, excuse me, guys. I think it kind of becomes hard when there's like kind of that divide, especially when it comes to mental health, because a lot of immigrant parents and families don't understand because that's not what they were taught, and they were kind
Mm-hmm.
of taught like these
Like this is it,
warped
and
ideas.
don't believe
Mhm.
anything else type thing.
Mhm. And I think the family also contributes to it a lot. Like you were saying, relatives. Like it's obviously not just the parents because they
Mm-mm.
weren't raised by themselves. It's their
Aunts.
siblings and their aunts and their uncles and their parents who
Mm-hmm.
have these same ideas. So I think when you're kind of talking about these things amongst those people and they're agreeing with you, it kind of makes it harder to kind of change their judgment
Yeah.
because they have people in their ear telling them that what they think is like correct and the best thing to do. Like, no, the best thing to do for your child who's experiencing symptoms of bipolar disorder is to have them go see a psychiatrist and
Get
get diagnosed so
evaluated.
that they can
Yeah.
get the proper care that they need to deal with that.
Yeah.
Like, you can't be shocked when you kind of deny that your child is going through a mental break and then God forbid something bad happens, you're all of a sudden confused and you're like, why me? Why me? Why me?
Yeah, what
Like
was
when
me?
this was brought to your attention multiple times.
Yeah.
Like it's extreme, but like that's reality. Like that's what happens.
Yeah, that is what happens
Like
a
people
lot.
don't want to say or do anything until it's too late and something bad has happened.
Yeah. And that's sad. Like, that's the sad truth. It's always too late. Or they start having or showing mental health awareness until after somebody's gone, or after something just terribly happens and their relative is sent to an asylum and can't ever see the light of day ever again, stuff like that. Like, it's sad. I feel my dog is barking. Can y'all hear that?
I can.
Cool beans. Anyway, I'm so sorry. She's so loud. Oh my gosh. She done? I think she's done. Anyway, I feel like yeah, it's definitely a mix of both. I think it's more so in denial too. I feel like they're just like, girl, what are you talking about? Like, you don't have that. Or they'll play the card of, well, God wouldn't give you that
I was just about to say that.
yeah,
That's
God wouldn't
crazy.
give
I
you
was just about to say
that
that.
disorder or that disease or stuff
Or
like
that's
that.
not of God.
That's not of God. Yeah.
So are you telling me I'm possessed? Like by a demon? Like, is that what you're telling me? It's not of God, so it's of the devil?
Or yeah, or
like,
they'll just be like, you need to pray it out.
Like what? Like
What?
That's what I always say. Like, what does it say in the Bible? And correct me if I'm wrong. Faith without works is dead. Like y'all are saying, oh, like no, that's not of God. You just need to have faith and stop worrying. Da 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 da. Like, okay, like I can believe in God and still go through mental challenges.
Yeah.
Like it's part of being human. Sometimes there are chemical imbalances, just like there are
It's
some
genetic.
people. Yeah, there are some people who have physical, things going on. People who have mental things going on. That doesn't mean that they're possessed by a demon just because it's in the brain and it's not in the legs or in the arms or it's in something that you can see.
Yeah. We don't tell y'all or old folks, or when you have high blood pressure, that it's not of God.
Like,
You
girl,
go get
who's telling you
medication.
that? You're gonna go take your blood pressure medication.
Yeah. So what's the difference? Because it's in my mind? Because you can't see it physically? I can't see you have high blood pressure.
But you know it's happening.
Yeah. Your doctor is telling you you have high blood pressure.
I don't get why people try to kind of downplay mental health. This is a very serious thing. And mental health takes a lot of people. It's not something to look past. Like, it's very serious. And I think, like, as a collective, we need to bring more awareness to it. Like, over the past years, it's been, like, we've been doing good with mental health awareness, but there's still so many people who really need to understand the magnitude of what mental health can do to somebody and do to somebody's brain and how it can affect somebody's life. Like, it's a very serious thing. So that was a burp.
I thought you just glitched. Or I was like, what? She stopped her
I
sentence.
did glitch, but nothing came out.
But I feel like, and it's also like, do they not realize, like, where, I don't know how to word this, where do y'all think counselors came from? Where do y'all think psychiatrists came from, psychologists, these people that are here to help come from? They don't just come out of thin air. God created those people to have those jobs. So what do you mean it's not of God? Like, I understand when you're saying like, oh, depression and that's, you don't want to live your life like that. Obviously, nobody wants to be sad all the time. Like, nobody wants that. But like, don't be in denial and be like, well, you need to just pray it out and then that's it. Seek help, like actual help. You can seek help from Jesus.
Wrong with getting help.
Yeah, you can get help from Jesus, and you can also get help from your medical doctors, your psychologists, psychiatrists, all these people that are here to help you. Like, that's another reason why so many people get like stuck or like schizophrenics on the loose, and like people that are deemed as crazy when they just never got the help that they needed because their family members or people around them were just like, well, that's not real. So you can really get out of my face and go pray about it.
Mm-hmm.
Just getting it pushed off, brushed off, and it's just like, oh, whatever. No, that's not what you're supposed to do as a supporting family member, parent, whatever, whoever you are. You need to be there for them and help them through that because that's the first thing they're looking for is help. I literally had to watch it's like this discussion type thing with all these um, uh, civil workers and psychiatrists, psychologists, medical doctors talking about these two people that have issues, and some of the people were playing as the person that had the issue, and how would they go about helping them, and like in this day and age, like what would really happen to them, like because of like the justice system and people in general, like at the end, and then at the end of the day, like it's a bad thing because, like, for example, this one guy that they had a hypothetical character, he ended up in jail because he was it was public indecency. He was urinating in a public area and he was schizophrenic and nobody helped him, and then he ended up in jail. Then he got tried, can't really fend for himself because he's schizophrenic and he needs help. Stuff like that. Like, people just see mental health as just like a piece of dust and they just flick it off. Like, it's way more than that. And people really need to realize it.
Yeah.
What is this? But yeah, I'm very passionate about mental health, as y'all can see. Considering I'm a psych major, like that's my personality at this point.
Yeah. So am I think, because I've experienced personally and I've seen kind of like what mental health can do.
Yeah.
And I've seen how people ignore it, especially coming from an immigrant household and being a first generation immigrant. Like, you can see how ignored mental health really is, and how downplayed it is, and how looked past it is. And it's really, really unfortunate. Yeah. And like, people will be so shocked,
very shocked,
when something goes wrong. Why are you shocked when this is the 15th time you're being told that there needs to be some type of intervention?
Yeah.
And you said no. So, like, what do you mean? No. But like, yeah, so like I've just seen, and I know how serious it could be. So,
yeah,
I take it very seriously, and I think we should all take mental health very seriously. There's nothing wrong. Like, you shouldn't be judged for having any type of mental ailment, because people who are physically ill or in hospitals are not looked at the way
they're felt sorry for.
The way supported. People with mental issues are looked at.
Yeah. Like,
they're not called crazy, they're not called psychotic, they're not this, they're not that.
Yeah.
They're both, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know, but y'all know what I mean.
They go hand in hand? Kind of?
I mean, in the sense that they're kind of like an illness, they go hand in hand.
Okay, so I get what you mean.
Y'all know what I mean.
Yeah.
Let's make it my brain. Like, I can't. That's what I hate. Like, I hate when my mind goes blank and I can't think of the word that I'm thinking of to describe something.
Yeah. We have unpopular opinions, so let's go ahead and share those. You can go first.
My unpopular opinion is, I don't really like, or like, I've come to understand the gravity of what it's like for people to kind of like use mental health as a joke, or to kind of make them seem as though they're different, or they're quirky, like, and I'm just gonna be honest. A couple years ago, like when I was in high school, I was very guilty of that. Like, I would be going to school like, oh, I'm so depressed. Like, oh, I'm so depressed. And like, obviously back then I thought it was a joke, and like reflecting now and like actually experiencing some of these things for myself, it's just very ignorant. Like I was ignorant. The people who I joked around with were ignorant as well. Like mental health is not something to joke about, or it's not something to throw around loosely.
Yeah.
Is what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't really, it doesn't make you funny or quirky.
Yeah, like
Oh, I have depression. Oh my gosh, I have such bad
depression.
anxiety.
Yeah.
Da da da. Just depression and things. Like, people suffer with this kind of stuff. Like, this is a very big deal. I don't think it's something we should just be throwing around loosely for the fun of it.
Yeah, same. I feel the same way. And like, I don't know if you remember seeing like on like We Hearted or like Tumblr where like they'd be like anxiety and they'd be like in a pretty font, like a heart around it or something. Like what? That is so crazy to me.
And I get that. Sorry.
I was just gonna say, if Tumblr was still like very prominent right now, they would probably get shut down, or like the people on there would get banned or something.
And I get that like people deal with their own struggles and trauma in their different way. Like some people like to compensate with humor, and that's completely fine. But a lot of the people who like make these little jokes about mental illness are not mentally ill. Like let's just be for real.
Yeah, like they don't even have anything wrong with
you
them.
Don't. So like you just don't know what it's like. Like just because you don't want to go to school today and you'd rather be at home does not mean you're depressed.
Yeah.
You know, like sure you could be sad, but I feel like although sadness and depression are on the same spectrum, one is like an escalation. You know what I mean? Like it's a whole nother ball game.
Yeah.
So I don't think we should just kind of downplay it, because that's not fair to the people who suffer from it. Like it's not something sweet. You know, something to laugh about.
I wouldn't recommend anybody. I wouldn't wish that on anybody to have
me
depression or nothing like that.
Yeah. And
It's
like looking back, it was nothing about it is funny. So girl, I don't know why you were joking around, but you know, yeah, like that's why I do like on that Instagram page I like have a whole highlight just dedicated to mental health, because I'm very serious about it now, because I know what it feels like. Yeah. So, you guys can go check that out if you want to.
Go check it out. I'll put her in there. Put her somewhere.
Yeah.
On the screen.
But yeah, so that's my unpopular opinion. Let's not make a joke out of mental health, because it's not a joke. Let's not throw around these terms so loosely, you know, to describe a temporary feeling that we're going through. Because for some people, this isn't temporary.
Yeah.
You know, this is chronic. Let's throw those medical terms out there. It's chronic.
Chronic. Major. Mine is that people self-diagnose themselves a little too much for me. Like, to where they think, like, they actually have it. Like, there's a point where you're like, I do show symptoms, so I probably should go see a psychiatrist. To where
I feel like there's a difference between, oh yeah, I'm showing these symptoms, let me go see somebody or talk to somebody, and oh, I have 2 out of the 50 symptoms, so I must have it. You know what I mean? There's a difference. There's a big difference. There is a big difference.
And those 2 symptoms are like very common things that mainly everybody goes through. And it's like
you've had one headache in your whole entire life, and you get sad about things. Like those are the 2 symptoms that you have.
Yeah, and the things that you're sad about are things that people should be sad about. Like your dog is not feeling good. My dog didn't feel good, so I was really sad about that. I think I have depression now.
Yeah.
Girl, no, don't do it. And then like they'll make it like their whole personality kinda, and they'll be like, you know how like the people with zodiacs be like, oh, I'm just an Aquarius. That's just how I am.
Yeah, and I feel like that kind of ties into mine too.
That's just me. Yeah. Just Scorpio things.
Yeah. I'm just quirky like that because I have depression and I have
I'm a Capricorn.
Like,
Yeah.
that's just me. Like, girl, you don't got any of those things. Like, be for real. You don't have it.
You don't
And you
have
know
it.
you don't have it. And that, like, that's, it goes back into, like, making a joke out of it or making it seem like it's this fun, lighthearted thing.
No,
Like,
it's not.
cut that out.
Yeah, and like the people that self-diagnose, kind of like I said, they make it their personality, and they kind of um, think they know everything about it too. Like they took a one they t- they took a quiz. It was like 5 questions. They figured out they have agoraphobia or something, and I'm like, no. It literally says if you do take quizzes, and for the people that are like trying to see if they show symptoms, they take quizzes and stuff like that. I appreciate y'all. Y'all are trying to be self-aware, but baby girl, you don't have agoraphobia because it literally says this is not meant to self-diagnose. This is not a proper diagnosis. Please seek a psychiatrist for help. It's always there. Every quiz you take on Google, it's always there. This is not a diagnosis.
Yeah, like quizzes can give you an idea, sure.
Yeah.
Like if you're exhibiting symptoms, okay, cool. But that is supposed to prompt you to seek medical attention if you think you need it.
After your results, it says you may have this, not you have it.
Yeah,
no.
It's not definite. The only way for it to be definite is for you to see someone and you be diagnosed with it.
Yeah,
So,
like, do not go on Google and type in psychosis disorder quiz and then be like, yeah, I have psychosis. Girl, you don't. You definitely don't have psychosis. You wouldn't even be thinking about taking a quiz right now if you had psychosis. You would be hallucinating.
yeah.
So be for real. That really pisses me off. Like when people self-diagnose, like off the charts, like self-diagnose. Yeah, like self-diagnosing without help, basically. Yeah, that. The quizzes got me. Like that's crazy. Like five question quiz, and you just think you got all these things. Like, girl. And then they make YouTube videos about it. Like, guys, I have bad news. I have been diagnosed with this disorder. I took a quiz on mayoclinic.com, and they said I have it, and she forgot to put might in her sentence.
Like, girl.
Yeah, I'm really angry. I get really upset about that. Because it's like, why are you acting... Have some decorum. That's my favorite word. Have some decorum. Because why are you acting the way that you act? But yeah, I think we kind of crossed everything.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything else that is on my mind.
Me neither. I guess I just, because I always leave, like, the final thoughts. I guess, like, what I kind of just want the takeaway of this to be is that mental health is not a joke. It's not something to look over, you know. And if if you think you're suffering with any type of mental illness, or you are suffering with any type of mental illness and you haven't gotten the help that you need, just know that it's okay. You know, you're not crazy. You're not weak. You're not any of those things because you feel like you need help. If you need help, go and seek help. Because that's the only way that you're going to manage this. Yeah. You can't do it by yourself. Yeah. And it's unfortunate that some of us kind of don't have those people on our side, like that support group that we need, because they don't believe in mental health the way they should. But, like, it's totally okay to go and get help. In fact, you should go get help.
Yeah, you should.
If you need it. And just know, like, there are a lot of people out there who are going through similar things as you that you can also reach out to. And if any of you guys are struggling, you could reach out to us as well.
For sure.
And that's my TED Talk.
Not the TED Talk. Like I was saying, self-awareness is the first step. Once you feel like you know, show some symptoms, and not just 2, out of the 50, like Zira said, and they're like
But
very
like if
common.
it's like really affecting your everyday life,
Yeah,
type
if
of
it's
thing.
causing
Yeah.
you distress in work, school, life, relationships, family, then it's time to go seek help. It's you know, that's that. Thank y'all
You're
for watching.
strong when you go seek help. You are strong.
You are strong. That's a really that's a good.
It's a hard thing to do.
Yeah, that's a really hard thing to do. Like I said,
So
self-awareness.
just know that you are strong and you can do this, and you have people, whether you know them or not, who are rooting for you.
Yeah.
So.
And off the top of my head, I can think of BetterHelp. They're really great for counseling and therapy and things of that nature. And you don't know, and they're pretty affordable. Like, I was gonna sign up, and how much was it? Like under $200 per month. Usually, it's like therapy is expensive. That damn, I don't want to talk anymore. But that another thing is like how people, we want people to get help, but it's so inaccessible because it's so expensive.
I feel like that's another topic for another day too, because I could say some things about that. Mental health as well, but even like healthcare around the
in
board.
general, yeah.
Y'all,
We can talk about that in another episode.
Yeah, that's a whole another.
Let me write that down right now.
Y'all.
What the heck? Excuse me? Excuse me? Do you want to use the audio device, Zoom audio device?
What?
No, I don't. Leave me alone. Anyway, yeah. Thank you guys. We love y'all. We hope to see y'all in the next.
Oh,
what are we going to talk
watching? About? I have no clue, honestly.
Y'all will figure it out in the next episode. Tune in, make sure you do, and you'll be surprised to hear what we talk about next.
Yeah, so we'll see you guys later. Thanks for listening. Peace out.
Peace.
Girl Scout.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you guys for listening or watching. And if you're new here and you enjoyed listening to us, make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell to know every time that we upload.
And follow us on SoundCloud, TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram. All of our social handles will be in the description below. We love you guys, and as always, we hope you felt safe in our safe space.